mysterious death curse washes over the land, driven by a powerful artifact known as the Soulmonger. 4 would-be heroes have been sent to the jungles of Chult to destroy the cause of this terrible affliction. Vale, the half-elven paladin, who's just now learning of his divinely granted powers. Ubo, the turtle monk from a distant land, who's as quick with his wit as he is with his staff. Brilinya, Aasimar warlock, sent on this quest by her temple, discovering herself in this strange new land. And Gunslinger Cole, tiefling artificer and archaeologist who may just dig up more than she bargained for. This motley band of adventurers must work together to brave the poisonous plants, venomous monsters, thundering dinosaurs, and rotting undead of the jungle. Join the omnipotent dungeon master Jake from mini-terrain domain to see if our heroes can find the Soulmonger, uncover the deeper mysteries of Chult, and free the world from the death curse. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome to Chult of Personality.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Sunday night. That means it's time for Chult of Personality, a Doom of Annihilation campaign happening every Sunday night right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain. And tonight is episode 54, Vault of Reflection. And in just a moment, we are going to find out where these characters are in the Tomb of Annihilation, because they are, in fact, in the actual tomb, and what has been happening. First up, a couple of really quick announcements. Number one, as always, we would like you to consider Jasper's Game Day when you are thinking about organizations to which you would like to donate and support. Jasper's Game Day is a wonderful organization dedicated to raising awareness of and the prevention of suicide through tabletop gaming. If you type !Jasper in the chat, that will bring up a direct link by which you can donate to that organization, with all raised money going to fund crisis centers around the country. In that same vein, by typing !Coffee, that will bring up a link to where you can purchase Metade Roast Coffee, a medium Brazilian and Peruvian roast coffee. I have partnered with Brian from Initiative Coffee Company as part of their help action, and we have personally hand-selected this blend of coffee to represent the Mini Terrain Domain brand Initiative Coffee Company in support of Jasper's Game Day. For every 12-ounce bag of coffee you purchase, the $3 of that goes to benefit Jasper's Game Day. There is a merch store now open where you can get cool things like this Tomb of Annihilation Green Devil Face shirt, featuring artwork by Locrius, who did the Green Devil Face is pictured here. Link the Domain Devils down below. The character art for Vale and Brilinya, as well as former characters Gunslinger Cole and Ubo, and the background art, and our lovely intro, all done by Locrius, along with many other shirts and a handful of stickers and coffee mugs. I actually have this Green Devil Face is a sticker on the back of my truck now. It's about I think it's about like 4 inches high. A really cool looking representation of the game, and awesome art by an incredible artist and role player in Locrius. I want to draw attention to below Connor there. You'll see the D&D Beyond the logo. That is because Mini Terrain Domain is powered by D&D Beyond. We have been granted insider access, which allows me to run all of the campaigns through multiple tabs. All of our characters are in D&D Beyond, and you can simply mouse over the stream to see real-time updates on those characters' hit points. So if you watch closely, you may actually be able to watch as one of them dies. That won't happen, because every time I've ever threatened that, nothing ever happens. But for instance, if you mouse over right now, you'll notice that Brilinya is in the red with a mere 33 hit points remaining. Qualu and Vale appear to be losing the concept of what hit points are, as they are well over 100 each. And Taliel is getting close to that, but definitely in a much stronger position than Brilinya is. Domain Devils, you'll see down below me there are 14 Domain Devils that the players have at their disposal. Domain Devils or Domain Dice can be purchased by you, the viewer, as a way to influence the game and give the players a leg up. The Domain Dice can be used to re-roll d20s and take the new roll, force me to re-roll, to take healing outside of a short rest, allowing them to spend hit dice, turn failed death saving throws into successful ones, or turn a successful hit into a super crit, dealing double max damage at the cost of 5 Domain Dice. For just a $5 tip or a 500 bit, I forgot what they were called for a minute, 500 bit cheer, those, along with subscriptions, resubscriptions, raids, and the like, those all will earn the players Domain Dice. The last thing that I want to mention before we get into playing the game is, if you type !help in the chat, you're going to see a series of numbers that will pop up. This is because we value you. You matter. You are important. You're loved, and your presence on this earth makes a difference, whether you know it or not. Somewhere somebody thinks you're important. We all think you are important, and if you are struggling with that and you need help, you can reach out 24/7 to any one of these numbers. In the United States, you can reach out to the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255, or you can text 741-741. In Canada, you can text CONNECT for English or Parler for French to 686-868, or you can contact 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in either French or English. The toll-free number 1-833-456-4566. Please do not hesitate to use those resources if you need them. I do want to make sure I don't miss this one. I did notice the meta resubscription from Myth and Gears, earning another domain die. We do allow that. Hey, I don't care if you guys subscribe to the channel. I love it. The very last thing I want to say before we start playing is this week in the United States and Canada, tomorrow in particular, is Veterans Day or Remembrance Day. It's a time to be thankful for those that have served, to remember those that have served. I myself am a veteran of the United States Army Infantry, and I know that Mike is also a veteran of the Canadian Armed Services. So from me to you, Mike, thank you for your service. Though not in service of my country, our countries have fought alongside one another and served alongside one another quite a bit. So, and I do want to also acknowledge, because I know they're in the chat, what you're looking at. I believe, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe is Air Force. So thank you, what you're looking at. We always shout out what you're looking at, who has that lovely first badge next to his name. He is legitimately our first subscriber and longest subscriber. So, yep, he's confirming Air Force. So a thank you to anybody out there that's watching that has served in the military. Thank you for your service. All right, we are going to get into this game. So these characters have been carefully making their way through the Tomb of the Nine Gods. They have, along the way, with the ultimate goal being to figure out exactly where the Soulmonger is. They are in, supposedly, where it is, though it is proving to be quite difficult to move through this Tomb of the Trickster Gods, as they are having to move through many, many different types of elaborate traps, and nearly every room appears designed to simply outright kill them. Though it has not yet succeeded, it has come close. They have also along the way been raiding the tombs of the Trickster Gods. How many tombs have you guys raided at this point? How many sarcophagi have you claimed the treasures of? I believe you have Obalaka and Moa and
Nang Nang.
Nang Nang.
And who's the one that was the Sioux monster?
Wongo.
I think we also did Wongo.
Because Obalaka
we opened it.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one you.
No, I think we did.
No. Wongo was the one where Qualu got the Mace of Terror from.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was the one with the 3 chests that very nearly killed you. You got Moa. From Moa, you got the Staff of the Python. From Obalaka, I believe, is where you got the Ring of Protection that you currently have. So I think you've gotten 4, if I'm not mistaken.
And
what did you just get?
Killed Kubazan.
That was to get the puzzle cube to gain entrance to the.
That's right.
But what was it that you just got from? I'm completely blanking.
Didn't we just get Nang Nang?
Yeah, that's right. But what did you get from Nang Nang?
Oh,
the amulet, wasn't it?
Yes, the amulet of health that Vale also has, which he was able to attune to, because being possessed by the spirit of Obalaka, a timid and fearful spirit, it has granted him the ability to attune to 4 magical items. So far, other than that one instance, everybody else has managed to avoid being possessed by the spirits of the Trickster Gods thus far.
You make one bad roll, I tell you.
You also managed to, prior to getting into this room, because there was a puzzle in there that told you, using one of Acerak's warnings on the plaques on each level, you had a warning that said that the gem controls... the gemstone controls... I'm trying to think of how that was worded. It said, only a jewel can tame the frog. So you decided to go exploring. You did briefly encounter a very powerful tomb guardian that rose up out of a scrying pool in a very confined space, but in killing it, you opened a secret passage where you discovered, though did not go into, a workshop where several tomb dwarves appeared to be making tomb guardians by bolting pieces of armor to sewn together flesh of fallen adventurers and giving them life, or nearly life. But you chose not to dabble in that room. You did go into a study where you discovered the undead servant and basically the attendant of the Tomb of Annihilation, Sarax number 1, it appears, one Withers, whom you quickly dispatched, him and his servants, which were several crawling claws. In this room, you found several drawings that indicated sketches and drawings and plans that indicated the history of the tomb, that it was created on the backs of Omuans, who were then all slaughtered when the tomb was completed. And then Withers and his tomb dwarves periodically, methodically move through the tomb, resetting traps and maintaining the dungeon. One minor thing, well, after it, also in that, you found a gem, a murky gray gemstone. Going back to the Nang Nang's tomb, which was inside a salted pentagram, a circle and pentagram made of salt, where you discovered a frog-like vicious creature that was attacking. Taliel, I believe, was the one who jammed the gemstone into its mouth and unknowingly gave the gray slod back its control gem. But they were able to defeat this monster. In getting into the actual sarcophagus and claiming the treasure, Brilinya grabbed hold of an urn full of the Nang Nang's bones, which immediately caused her to start dancing uncontrollably to a discordant beat that only she could hear. But she quickly overcame that. The characters have also, following that last encounter, leveled up to level 11. We are now in that chamber. It is in the aftermath of the immediate aftermath of Brilinya's wild, uncontrolled dancing. And as you come to rest, Brilinya, from this uncontrollable dancing, from within the journals that you had gathered amongst your belongings, some of the journals and books you took from Wither's office, a previously undiscovered piece of parchment has dislodged itself, and as you sort of stop this moving around, this piece of parchment flutters to the floor at your feet. And the rest of you would see this as well.
Brilinya would carefully pick it up and at an arm's length open it.
This appears to be a very weather-worn and time-worn piece of parchment written in a very shaky, jagged handwriting. The ink is a very dark brown, but you've seen enough blood to know that this appears to have been written in blood. The scratchings on this piece of paper read in the same handwriting that you've seen when you looked through Wither's journal. The master returns with a marvelous gift, a cast-off creation of the gods, dead and yet not. The all-seeing is blind to his existence, and the mother of illusions looks past it. Sweet irony. The master hopes to raise the creature to power by glutting it on souls. The master has brought the Sown sisters here to nurse it, and to help build the device needed to feed it. As for me, I am only saddened that my studies shall one day come to an end. I owe the master much for the time he has given me. I can only work harder in the little time that remains for this world. And that is what is on that excerpt from Wither's journal.
So I think that Brilinya would be reading it aloud. And she would just pause and look up, kind of uncertain at the others. Sarah brought something?
Maybe some sort of a talisman or Oh, something to create this soulmonger?
I always just assumed it was Serac himself.
I imagine he's a powerful wizard, a sorcerer, or something, but I doubt he alone could make it. There has to be something else. Not sure what though.
What is the soulmonger that you are referring to?
It's some sort of a magical device that normally when someone dies, you can cure that with restorative magics, and you can bring folk back, but not anymore. And those who have been brought back through these magics are now succumbing to their old injuries and dying. And we are here to stop it. Hopefully.
You mentioned that earlier, and I did not understand because it was still working when I came here. So you're saying you cannot resurrect anyone anymore?
And everyone who has been resurrected is dying. And that's actually why we came. We were asked by a woman named Syndra Sylvain, who was dying.
Oh dear. I knew of her. You say she's dying?
Yes.
That is sad news. We also came here in the hopes of finding a device to help resurrect someone, but if what you say is true, then it won't even work anymore.
No.
And when did this happen?
You said it's been a few months?
At the time that Syndra hired you, it had been about, if I recall correctly, because like 2 years ago, if I recall correctly, it was like 1 to 2 months that it had been active. And prior to now, you have been traveling the jungles in search of this thing for a couple months now. So overall, we'll say it's been about 3 months total that this has been going on and throughout the entire realm.
So yeah, Brilinya would just say it's been quite a long time, many, many months.
I still don't understand why your time is different than mine, but if what you say is true, nasty business indeed. How quickly do these people succumb?
I think it's different for each one. I mean, some it is quick, others it takes weeks, maybe even longer.
And Syndra, was she doing all right? Was she still fine when you left her?
We saw her fairly recently. Did we see her at Omu?
Just before in the great palace of the bird, the Aarakocra.
She was brought to the to Kirsabal, the monastery where Eric was from, and she was present and spoke to you when Eric's mother performed the Dance of the Seven Winds that granted you flight to go to Nangalore.
Right. and she was not doing very well.
Oh dear. That is grave news indeed. Brilinya, you look hurt. Should we maybe take a short rest before we carry on?
I am admittedly not feeling very well. But we did just take a short rest, didn't we? Feels like we did, or maybe we didn't. Maybe I'm...
No, I think the last short rest we took, I mean, just out of character, I think it was, wasn't it, I think it was 2 sessions ago?
It's been a little while. It's probably been
Several hours, I think.
it's been a few hours since you took your long rest. At this point, you've been doing a lot of running back and forth, and doing some stuff. So I would say, and especially since you guys don't know exactly what happened, what the full effects are when you traversed through that ring and you went into the past. You have traveled through time. You know that much. So, and there's also you've gathered that there must be some kind of discrepancy of time, from Taliel's telling of when she entered the tomb and the events versus yours. So you're not entirely certain that the last time you rested, it could have been a few hours ago, could have been a year ago, could have been 20 years ago. There's no real telling. I would say that if you wanted to attempt it, well, you can definitely take a short rest if you wish. But if you wanted to take the time and chance it, you could also take a long rest.
I'm good with short rest, but
I've used much of my magic. A long rest wouldn't be terrible. It'd also give me a chance to...
Sorry.
No.
And we finished another floor, more as far as we know, except for that one room. Right?
Yeah, and you used your ghostly gaze to determine that
there was nothing.
The sarcophagus in that room was likely just a trap, because the only thing you saw in it was a sign that indicated something about the sunlight, and that was the room that had the magical sunlight coming in and you had deduced that if you triggered the trap, that room was going to seal itself and flood you all, attempt to drown you all in wine. Other than that, to the best of your knowledge, you have cleared or identified every room on this floor.
Okay. So, I mean, we're sure we're relatively safe. Maybe it's good to chance a long rest instead of going to the next floor and then having to fight through all of that.
I'm down with it. I'm down for a long rest. Plus, I can also start swapping out my spells, which is also good.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to take a long rest.
I think it's time.
Okay. So the long rest, it's 8 hours. I am going to, the four of you choose who's going to make this roll. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what it is. It is a percentile roll, and we're going to do it the MTD way. I have rolled. Jeez, I can't talk. A number from 1 to 100. There is a certain percent chance that a certain something might happen. So one of you needs to roll, and if it falls within the scope of this happening, or what I rolled, then it happens. A lot of that to say, just roll. Somebody rolled a D100.
I can roll if you want.
Do it.
I have to determine real quick what the percentage chance of this happening is. Okay. Excellent. So roll a D100 and tell me what you got.
Okay, 0, 0, and a 1. So that's 1, right?
Yes. That is a 1.
So 1. I rolled 1.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
That could be a good number. That could actually be good. No, think about it, because if he rolled like 52, then it's quite the outlier. So then maybe a bad thing didn't happen.
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Maybe his
either.
range pad was for a good thing. Maybe he's like, a good thing happens there.
It's a tomb of annihilation. It's tomb of annihilation. When's it going to be good?
Right.
Like, hey.
So it's good when something bad doesn't happen. Maybe he's like, okay, this is a small chance of something not bad happening. See?
So I will say this, while I assume, Mike, you're swapping out some spells. This percentile roll, this is something I typically do. Whenever there's a percentage chance, the way I do it is I roll my D100 to get the baseline number. And then, for example, if there's a 10% chance that something happens and I roll a 50, then if the other roll that comes up is a 45 to a 55, then the thing happens. If it's outside of that, it doesn't happen. It's that simple. It's basically using a sliding scale, so that no matter what you roll, you don't know if you roll a 100 if that's good or bad. It's just something I've always done since I started using percentile. I like using that when there's just a chance. In this case, there was a 25% chance of something happening, and you don't know whether or not it happened or didn't happen or what it is. But this will be common anytime you take a long rest. I'm assuming you were just staying in Ning Ning's tomb, which you had cleared, and there was only the one entrance and exit, which was the secret doorway. So the 8 hours passes without incident. You actually, it might, depending on your perception, your individual perceptions of this, it might be taken as a good thing or a bad thing. The entire time you've been in this dungeon, you've constantly heard the distant clanks, moans, shuffling, occasionally the sound of dripping water, a door slamming. But this tomb, you traveled through 2 secret doors and a narrow hallway to get to. The only sound that you have heard has been your own sounds. Any sounds you make as you move around, your own breathing. It's also very muffled. It's like being outside when there's a heavy snowfall and it absorbs all of your sound. You're so isolated from the rest of the tomb that you have not been hearing these sounds. You will have noticed in completion of in your earlier circuit, and I may have forgot to mention this, I don't remember, but in your earlier investigations of this room when you first arrived and you kind of went around it looking for other exits, in the north wall there was that very narrow crawlway that Brilinya had used her ghostly gaze to identify, and as you expected, the strong scent of wine comes from inside that crawlway. So you know that this is the crawlway that leads towards the wine-filled cisterns that were waiting to flood the previous chamber. Other than that, the 8 hours passes uneventfully. What would you like to do? In Brilinya, I do believe this would be the first time in a while that anybody has seen you actually not only doing so, but needing to actually sleep during this time period.
Yeah, it might be the tomb taking a toll on her, but she is just feeling exhausted. And exhaustion finally takes hold of her, and it has been just, as far as you guys can tell, it has been like weeks since she slept. But before she does go to sleep, she's looking through Cole's journal, as she does almost every night, and she sees the bright shape of an El Mirage, very, very slight at first, and ghostly almost, seeming to jump between the pages and on her arm, and just kind of dancing around as she's holding open this journal. And eventually 3 names appear on the journal: Qualu, Taliel, and Vale. And it almost seems, as the Almirage jumps from one space to another, is when these names appear. And she doesn't tell anyone, because they might... She takes it as a good omen, this is a good sign. Something good is going to come of this, because in her experience, the Almirage, since showing itself to her in Omu, really has brought her nothing but good luck and fortune.
Brilinya, after this vision is gone and sticks in your head, and you eventually drift off to sleep, sleeping for the first time in quite a while, even though you have not had a need to do so. It's almost as if in the wake of this absence of sleep, it claims you fully, completely, and you drift off into, for the most part, a deep, dreamless sleep. And you don't know how much time has passed, how long you've been asleep, before you see in your mind's eye, at the fringes of your far periphery vision, you see a little bit of light begin to form. And then it begins to kind of close in from the sides quicker and quicker, until the blackness becomes an orb in front of your vision. And as it pulls further away, it's an eye, the pupil of an eye, and the surrounding dark colored eyes that almost have for a moment, have a serpent-like look to them. And as they pull further away, you realize you are staring very closely at the face of Dunala. And you are watching as he falls away from you, very slowly, towards a spinning adamantine blade. Behind him, the nearly destroyed form of the ornate chest as mimic, a single pseudopod appendage attached to the back of Dunala's head, falling towards this fan. It falls so slowly And yet, as he looks up at you, Dunala begins to speak to you. But he's speaking to you in a normal speech, as if he is slowing, but it is a separate time, passage of time, as he looks into your eyes. Brilinya, you, the Vale, and Qualu, and this new one that you have companioned with, you must keep going. Know that my body has been destroyed, but my soul still lives on. With the passage of each day, it grows more and more likely that my soul will be consumed by this thing. But know this, as you continue to descend further and further, you grow closer and closer. Do not give up. I believe in you. And tell Vale that though Ubtao appears as though he may have forsaken him in this foul place, I can still see through the veil of death. I can see the connection that Ubtao has to our friend Vale. It may seem thin and tenuous, but it is strong, and Vale should hold tightly onto that. I do not yet see the soul of my daughter here. This is good. Let Qualu know this. I have no words for your new friend, for I do not know her, and I do not know the souls of those that surround her, but I will keep my eye out. Do not linger on my death. I have served my purpose, and what I did, I believe, has served Ubtao and the greater good, the thing I never thought I would do. Now go, Brilinya. Do not watch what is inevitable. And you notice that his body has grown closer to those spinning blades. And before you can think to turn away, you feel a hand on your shoulder. Somebody pulls you towards them. And you feel this bizarre shift as you were standing on the edge of this pit watching Dunala fall in slow motion. Now you feel as if this person that has grabbed you by the shoulders, you suddenly feel yourself lying on the floor, perhaps leaning against the wall, in Ning Ning's tomb. You can see the others around you, slumbering quietly. But you can't move. Your body is completely incapacitated with sleep paralysis. And you feel, besides Vale and Taliel and Qualu and yourself, you feel a fifth presence sitting next to you. A hand is on your shoulder. You hear the sound of pages being flipped. You can just sense this presence to your left. And you just know what it is, because you don't feel it where you normally hold it in your hands, hold it against you as you sleep. Whoever this is holding Cole's journal, flipping through the pages. And then you hear a voice that you have not heard for quite some time. say, it's a good thing that you kept this. See, you've added to it. It's the voice of the woman you now know to be your sister, Cole. That's good. This is yours now. Keep adding to it. Keep telling the story. For now, just know I'm still here. But I don't know for how long. I met your friend, Dunala. He seemed nice. I hope he survives too. And Brilinya. One last thing. Wake up. And you suddenly feel that presence is just gone. The only thing that changes in your perception at this moment is the presence of Cole vanishes. And you feel your body, that you have movement again. You're awake, you're rested. The others are right where you saw them. It's as if you were just in this moment between wakefulness and sleeping, and you can just hear that faint presence, the echo of presence, and that faint memory of wake up. Of your sister's voice. What would you like to do?
I think Brilinya wakes up with tears in her eyes. They've been streaming down her cheeks, and her eyes are now puffy and red. But she sits up resolutely, and she would sit and she would wait for everyone else to wake up. She would give she would open Cole's journal during this time, give a couple of pages, and she would begin writing the story, writing their journey. Everyone, right from the beginning, she would start. Point form, nothing too fancy or flowery, but just so that she can remember the facts for later. And she would wait until everyone would wake up so that she can relay the message from Dunala to them.
Eventually, the rest of you begin waking up and noticing Brilinya already awake, scratching madly away in her journal. I picture Brilinya sort of back to the wall, knees pulled up, the journal spread across her knees, with the pen or pencil, whatever it is, just scratching, just constantly writing as quickly as possible. And we'll say that for the purposes of this, that you've been awake a good hour or two before everybody else, having fallen asleep pretty quickly after looking through your journal, that you've got quite a bit you've been able to capture in sort of bullet form, writing sort of the outline of your story throughout the pages of this journal. You're all rested, refreshed. Everybody's hit points are back in the green, which is a good thing to see. You are in this Ning Ning's tomb. You know that there is a narrow, what was a secret passageway leading into the room that had the zombies and the heavy door and the big pots full of bones. And just outside that room are the stairs leading down. There is also, outside of Wither's office, there was a spiral staircase that led down as well. What would you all like to do?
I know it seems maybe foolhardy, but I cannot leave this undone. Remember that one room we saw, but we left quickly because the devices inside were just, horrific, and frankly, we were probably too hurt to take it, but I feel I need to go in there. There is an item that was lost when I lost my party members, and I believe it might be in that room. And I know this may not mean anything to you three, but it was one of the reasons why I came to this tomb. And I can't in all good conscience leave without trying to get it back.
Then let's go. I mean, if we're going to work together. So it's not right to leave someone behind. So if you need help and you need to get something, then I say we go.
I'm anticipating it will be a fight. I don't know how long it takes to make those creatures, but those dwarves were in the process of doing it. So we may have to face one of them.
Then that's what needs to be done.
Thank you.
By the way, last night, Junala came to me in a vision. And he wanted me to tell you each something. Kualu, he told me to tell you that he has not seen his daughter yet. In this place. He didn't say where.
I trust that it's good or it is terrible.
I believe that means that she is being taken care of.
I believe it too.
And Vale, he said that Ubtao is still with you. Even though you may think he's not. And she phrases that as a question because he's never really brought it up. The fact that he would be worried about that. So she would just, that last part would kind of be a little questioning.
Thanks, Brill. I understand.
Taliel, I'm sorry, he didn't know you.
That is all right. I would not have expected him to say anything to me, as we had never met.
But he wishes the best. It was good to see him again.
He came while we were sleeping?
I saw him in a dream, I think. He is gone.
Interesting. I wonder what that means. Does this happen to you often?
I am also visited by my sister, Cole. Sometimes. It makes me feel a lot better. I have such a worry of what happens, especially now when people die. They get trapped. But it seems as though they're not in any pain.
That is comforting.
Vale,
Hope.
you hear in the back of your mind that familiar backseat passenger, that spirit of Obalaka, fearful and cautious. She's hearing voices? People are coming to her in dreams? Inside this place? Don't trust her. Don't trust those words. I would be very careful. Dreams in this place cannot be good. This can't be a good thing.
You do realize that you're a voice in my head, right?
That's not what I mean. You can trust me. Have I steered you wrong yet?
Not listening. Look at it like this. Maybe people coming to you in dreams and voices is dangerous, but so is stabbing myself in the head repeatedly. And what do you think would be a more immediate danger for you and I? The voices coming from someone else, or me stabbing myself in the head multiple times?
You're crazier than I thought.
Well, maybe. But if you think about it, I'm hearing voices of a dead god in my head. I mean, it's generally not the thing that usually sort of happens.
But you know that I'm the voice of Obalaka. I am one of the gods.
Hang on a second, hang on. Do I, though?
Why would I lie to you? Why don't you trust me?
Gee, I don't know. Why would you lie to me? Oh, right, to lead us astray? Maybe to steer me in the wrong direction?
I was a prisoner in that tomb until you freed me.
You're welcome, by the way.
I'm not sure that I like you very much.
Oh, geez, you're not starting with that guy. You're just as bad as Nang Nang. Honestly.
Don't even get me started on that frog.
Right?
Fine. You're on your own for now, and in your mind you hear this. The sound of doors closing, and you've once again pissed off the trickster god in your head.
Good. You can hang out in the back in the bar. I'm sure there's a fully stocked fridge there you can just kind of chill out in. Well, all right then.
All right.
And that's the end of that. I basically just start following everyone else down the... I'm guessing we're just going down the hallway to where they're steaming blood.
So you are, if you choose to go that way, of course, everything's as you remember it. You move through the secret passageway. You move into the room with the big cauldrons full of bones and the door that still has the dangling chains and the bodies of the dead zombies. Qualu and Vale, you lift the door, allow the others to get through. Find yourself once again out in the balcony area. You move through the previously identified secret door, past the scrying pool, into the narrow hallway at the top of the spiral staircase leading down. You see the door to Wither's office. His study is slightly ajar at the end of that hall as you left it. And in the to the north of these stairs is the closed door that led into that area where you saw the tomb dwarves. There were 4 tomb dwarves that were working on one of these tomb guardians at the far end of the room. Yeah. How would you like to proceed? Made it to outside the door. Last you saw it, there were 4 tomb dwarves, and they were bringing a tomb guardian to quote-unquote life.
Well, I think at this point, Taliel has got her bow out and ready, an arrow knocked, and is ready to shoot through the door as soon as it is open. I think she would look to like either Kwalu or Vale to do the actual opening of the door and letting her get the free shot in. But other than that, I don't have a bigger plan.
I am going to cast a spell. Oh, I guess I have to tell you what that spell is. All right, so I'm casting Meteor Swarm. I just borrowed it from a wizard spell. Oh, I didn't think it would be an issue.
A meteor swarm in a enclosed space underground?
Yeah,
what could
seems
possibly
absolutely
go wrong?
Yeah, nothing could go
Yeah,
wrong.
we all
there,
got over
right?
100 hit points. We're good.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. The 2 of us will survive,
Yep.
right? That's the main. No, okay. No, but I am going to cast a spell that I haven't been able to cast yet. It's a new one for me. I'm going to cast Crusader's Mantle.
All right.
So I will say that as soon as I, for some reason, that was weird. I'm about to read it off, and then all of a sudden, Beyond says no. Basically, everyone in a 30-foot radius of me deals an extra 1d4 radiant damage when it hits with a weapon attack. So there you go.
All right. And though you were joking, just as an aside, for those that might not know, that meteor swarm in that small of a space would have dealt 160 d20 worth of damage. That's 20 bludgeoning and 20 fire damage. 20 d6 bludgeoning and 20 d6 fire damage for each of the 4 meteors. 160 d6 worth of damage. That's just insane.
And you know what I would you know what we'll go ahead and borrow a sorcerer thing and just meta magic that thing to maybe twin it or max it.
Oh my gosh.
It's like more damage. We need more damage.
Good Lord. All right. So you're all bolstered for 1 minute through Crusader's Mantle. Who's opening the door?
Kwalu's going to cast a spell called Opening the Door and Charging Through.
Oh, I love that spell.
Can you wait on the charging through?
I mean, I guess.
And that would be good. Brilinya has something too.
Because Kwalu can pause midair for you guys.
We are stacking up on this door like we're gonna breach it, and I don't know
SWAT
why.
team
All right, Brilinya, are you waiting for the door to open to do something, or?
Yeah, as soon as I guess she doesn't even have to see. I don't think she has to see it. So she isn't really going to wait. She's going to, as soon as she sees a line in the door in the crack that it's open, she is going to cast the spell.
Okay. So in this moment, Taliel draws her bow. You hear the tensing of the bowstring. Kwalu places his hand on the doorknob to open it. Vale sort of summons this magical energy with a holy word, and radiant energy imbues all of you. Brilinya tenses. The door opens, and it just begins to crack open. Brilinya, what are you doing?
Brilinya outstretches her hands, and you can see her mithril scars almost begin to crackle with energy, with light, with electricity almost. And it flows through her forearms, down her hands, and just explodes into that room. And she is going to cast Synaptic Static, which means that each creature within a 20-foot radius from a point of my choosing, which is going to be like right smack dab in the middle of the room, have to make, or actually towards the backside, because that's where she had seen before most of the dwarves.
The far side was where the dwarves were, where they were working on this Iron Maiden-like contraption that had all the gears and the steaming pots of blood and whatever else.
Okay, she is going to aim it for there, then the center point, and then 20-foot radius. Each creature has to make a intelligence saving throw.
Okay, so pop this open. Let's see. Synaptic. Okay. Let's see. Intelligence saving throw.
Yes.
This ought to be good. Let's see. That is an 8 on the die, so that is a 6 total. So that will be a fail.
So they're going to take 8d6 psychic damage, which is going to be 32 psychic damage. And if they fail a save, they are all muddled. They have muddled thoughts for 1 minute. During that time, they roll a d6 and subtract that number from all their attack and ability checks, as well as their constitution saving throws to maintain concentration.
Okay.
They can intelligence saving throw at the end of each of their turn, which would end this muddled effect.
Okay. So as this blasts, Taliel, what were you doing as Brilinya casts this sort of crackling energy? The door opens, and you see this energy just arcing past you across the room toward where you see this same contraption as before. What are you doing? You had your shot readied.
Yeah, so as soon as the door opens enough for her to get a good look inside and see where these dwarves would be, one of the arrows that she had knocked already looses and flies directly towards.
You don't see any dwarves. You only see the Tomb Guardian at the far end.
So just the one, but we see the creature?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Then 3 shots, boom, 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 because I get 3 shots now, will fly directly at it. As soon as the arrow kind of leaves the bow, it starts to glow kind of in like almost like with a green glitter, let's say, like it sparkles a little bit as it's infused with magic. So we'll see what we rolled. So that first one is a 21
to hit.
Yeah, another 21 and a 16.
The first 2 hit. The third one does not hit.
Okay, and there's no other creature in the room, you say?
You only see the Tomb Guardian.
Okay. I'm going to use it anyway. The first arrow, as it hits the creature using an arcane shot, and it explodes as well as it hits it. If there was any other creatures within 10 feet of it, they would take this force damage as well. But
don't forget you have 1d4 extra radiant damage to each of your weapon attacks.
Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so the first shot is 10 points of magical piercing, 4 points of radiant, and 9 points of force.
For a total of
10, 14, 19.
okay, so that's all right.
And then the second shot, oh, that's not so good. 7 piercing with 1 radiant. So that's 8 points.
So this happens as you quickly open the door and you see this massive Tomb Guardian standing there immobile. You blast it with these spells and these arcane shots, and it takes them. And you see some of what you can only guess within the last 8 hours, newly imbued blood within it begins to leak out of wounds. And you see it was almost as if your attacks woke it as it sort of lurches from these hits. And there's this sort of as hoses break free from it as it was attached to this thing still from which it was created, and it lumbers forward. And we're going to roll for initiative. Vale, what you got?
19.
Taliel.
Also 19.
Brilinya.
11.
And Qualu.
12.
Taliel, what's your dex?
It's +4.
Vale.
It is also +4.
All right, give me a
You know
roll
what?
off.
You know what? Nope. You know what? I'm going to say that I cast a spell that I'm somewhat concentrating on. So I would say thematically that it should be Taliel first.
Okay. Excellent. Taliel, you will go first. Vale, you will go second. The Tomb Guardian is going to go third, followed by Qualu and Brilinya. Taliel, in initiative order now, what would you like to do?
Seeing this thing is animating and coming after, like moving and coming at them, probably. She's going to loose 3 more arrows towards it. Okay, that is a 12, so I believe that misses.
Your arrow strikes one of these pieces of bolted and welded together armor fragments across this thing and just ricochets off harmlessly.
The next one is a 29.
Definitely a hit.
And then the last one is a 16, which I believe missed last
That will
time.
also miss.
Okay.
Don't forget to add a 1d4.
Perfect. That will be 9 points of piercing with the 2 radiant, so total of 11.
All right.
And she will move into the room, into the corner back here, so that Qualu has.
So just as a reminder, as you can now see this room is 25 feet across from left to right. So you this door opens up into the middle of the south wall. Do you move to the left or the right?
I move. Which way is the door swinging? Does it swing in to the right?
It swings in to the right. Yes.
Yeah, then I will go to the left and go into that corner. I think you said there were shelves or something last time.
Yeah, there's shelves along the left wall. There's a couple tables here and there. Along these walls, there are 15 feet into the room. There are on either side a stone pillar rising up to the 15-foot ceiling. The room is about 60 feet across. So right now, this Tomb Guardian is 60 feet away.
Yeah, I'll move into the door and to the left. I guess if the pillar is going to be in my line of blocking me from line of sight, what I'll do is I'll go up behind it so that I can move out from it next time.
Okay, perfect. Vale, what are you doing?
All right. I'm going to rush in and I'm just going to attack the first dwarf that I can see.
You rush into the room and you see no dwarves. You see only the Tomb Guardian on the far...
Oh, right. That's right. I'm sorry. No, I misspoke. I meant Tomb Guardian. I don't know why my brain...
he is 60 feet away.
Huh. All right. Okay. Then, being 60 feet away, I'm gonna draw my bow.
Excellent. So you move into the room, drawing your bow.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna move my maximum 30 feet.
Okay. Yeah. So you move into about the halfway point of the room.
Yep, and then just grab my short bow, grab one of those +1 ammunition, just draw and shoot.
Excellent.
Give me 1 sec here, though. Oh, well then. I did have a short bow, but I never put that into my equipment. So there you go. That's a thing. So that should be...
You can add it super quick just with the manage equipment button.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But I did roll an 8, which I +9, I think is a 17.
That just hits.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that. Okay, so I need one of these, and of course, the one die that I didn't pull out was the D4 because, why would I do that? That would just be silly. Yeah. You know what? Hey, do me a favor. Hey, Connor, can you roll me a D4? I trust you. Famous last words.
You got a 1, buddy.
All right. Well, you know what? That's 8. 1 is 9, plus the 4, plus the 4 dexterity. So, yeah, 13.
Your arrow flies across, sticking into a piece of the flesh that is visible between the shifting plates of armor. Do you have another attack?
I do. I'm just desperately trying to actions. Come on, where are you? Where are you? Where'd you go? It's always that one thing where you're like, where did you go? Where did you go? There we go. All right. So D&D Beyond is so great for this. Instead of me having to look up several books to dang it, I knew I forgot something. Oh, that is a miss. I will tell you right now that was a miss.
Is it a critical miss?
No, I rolled a nat 3. So if a 17 just hits,
just remember you do have domain dice, and we just got raided by Fellowship of the Tables with 5 viewers. And as you know, raids also earn you domain dice.
Raid? I mean, someone...
Thanks for the raid.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I remember those.
I know. Yeah, I know.
So, are you going to spend a domain die, or?
You know what? I will. Let's. You know what? Let's do it. Thanks, Fellowship of the Tables, for this second chance at shooting.
So we're gonna, just for the sake of it, I'm gonna take the one away, and I'm gonna give it right back because of Fellowship. There you go. for the animation point. All right, how's that re-roll?
That reroll was a whole lot better because it was 10 plus. Oh, it's 18.
18 is a hit, and there's another domain die on the table because Fellowship has just resubscribed. So that's going to put you guys at, let's see, so
I think it just pulled something.
go here.
Oh.
What did you pulled something rolling dice?
No, no. I'm in bad shape, but I'm not in horrendous shape. No, I threw my arms up, and I felt a grindiness in the old shoulder there, which I'm sure is natural.
All right, so
Sure is natural.
that second hit, second shot
Awesome.
did hit.
Alrighty, so, ooh, that's pretty good. All right, so the next one is going to be 2 points of piercing damage of the magical variety because it was +1 ammunition.
Right.
And come on, D4. I found a D4. Life is good. And an extra 10 points of radiant damage. Not that I guess that really matters, but hey, it's there.
All right, yeah, your arrow also finds its mark and appears to, as it sinks in through between these pieces of shifting armor, and there's that sort of almost resonant as it sort of releases this radiant energy, and you can see that it is now leaking this blood. It is bleeding profusely from quite a few wounds, but its helm, which is this large bucket, and behind it you can see it's partially opened. You can see eyes, 2 different color eyes staring back, and it sort of tilts the bucket and twists, and you hear this creaking metal, and you hear bones as it cracks its neck, and it begins moving across the floor towards you, Vale, who moved to the midway point. And as it is moving forward, you see that each of its hands are heavy spiked gauntlets. And as it's walking towards you, with each step, it's and it is going to attack you. Now, remind me, actually, I'm going to bring it up here again. So the D6 is rolled with its attacks and subtracted because of the synaptic static, correct? And then
Yes,
at
that is
the
correct.
end of its turn, it gets to make that intelligence save again. Okay.
Yes.
So it moves forward, and you can see that it has this, it's sort of being, like it's, something is bothering it, and is it kind of, and it's going to attack at you, Vale. I'm going to roll the 6 right along with it. So that is a 14 plus a 7 is a 21, minus 5, making it a 16 to hit.
And it misses.
So it takes a while and swings, and you easily dodge it. Its other fist comes around in a wide arc. That is a 13 plus a 7 is a dirty 20, minus 3, making it 17 to hit.
Nope.
The other fist swings around, and it misses you. And now it is going to... now I gotta see this here. Roll attack rolls and ability checks, but not saving throws, except Constitution. Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because that would kind of suck if it also loses the D6 trying to save intelligence on this. So let's see. That is a 16 minus 2, so that is a 14. What's your save DC?
17.
It does not succeed, so it is still
Oh,
muddled.
sorry. Actually, my save DC is a 19.
Oh, so it's definitely still muddled. From your. Oh wait, you have a DC 19. It can't save.
Yeah. So it's because of that the Rod of the Pack Keeper.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm just noticing though, with a -2 to its intelligence, that it is not going to be able to save against this effect. So it will be muddled for the duration of this fight. Okay. Let me just check something. Let's see. So it'll be. Okay. All right. It is Qualu's turn.
Kolu's gonna run up to this thing, leaping in the air, drawing this wicked goat-headed quarterstaff, and just cracking into its amalgamated armor and flesh, this thing, with 1, 2, and 3 strikes this time, as he's now an 11th level fighter and can do the triple threat. He gets a 21 to hit, a 22 to hit, and a 19 to hit.
All 3 of those are going to hit.
All right, perfect. So the first hit, 12 for the first hit, 13 for the second hit, that's 25 total, and another 12, so 37 points of magical bludgeoning damage between the 3 attacks here. As I use my attack action.
Did you add the radiant damage?
Oh, goodness, there's the radiant on all of those. That's right.
So that'd be 3d4 of radiant damage.
Yep. So that's a 3, 3, 4. So that's another 10 points of radiant damage.
Qualu, how do you want to end this?
Qualu runs up. Vale is kind of dodging blows of this thing as it tries to wail upon him. Qualu sees the opening. He slides in, cracks the leg out from this thing as he runs by, toppling it down to a knee, across the back, shattering it backwards, forwards. And then with one big final strike, just caves in the entirety of its head with the blunt end of the staff, pinning it to the ground. Ah!
As you cave in the helm actually splits. And the face that is revealed, at least 3/4 of the face that is revealed, is one that you recognize, Taliel. You recognize this as belonging to Seward. And the eye that belongs to Seward looks towards you, and the mouth, in a voice that is partially Seward's voice, but garbled and distorted, looks towards you, blood seeping down its face. I never wanted this. And then the eye pivots towards you, Qualu. Thank you. And the body falls over. Dead.
And Taliel, under her breath, as this creature dies, I hope you rest soon, my friend.
All right. There's still no dwarves anywhere in this area. There's the multiple tables and workbenches in this room. There is the contraption that was used to create these tomb guardians. There is a flight of stairs leading upwards on the west wall. One thing that all of you will notice in this room is that on one of the tables along the wall, the slain body of Withers lies on the table. The arms have been separated from the torso. The legs have been separated from the torso. Each arm is broken into different segments. The hands are separated, the feet and the head. But it lays there as if in this slightly distorted view. It appears that the dwarves found your work and are up to something with the body of Withers in this room. Also, on one of the benches in the room, Taliel, you see a very familiar looking lantern. And anybody who saw those drawings that Taliel found in Wither's office will also recognize this lantern. But Taliel, it is definitely the lantern.
Yeah, as soon as she sees it and as her eyes glance upon it, she is headed in that direction to get it. She's like, there it is. I knew it was in here. And she will go to retrieve it.
All right. You can add to your inventory the ghost lantern. That will come up as a magical item. It does require attunement. So you know the story of this lantern, and as you take hold of it, the familiar female moon elf figure within the lantern, and the rest of you can see as Taliel rushes to this lantern. It has the look of a brass lantern with a finely woven brass basket made of brass wire around the glass part of the lantern, and there's a brass ring for the handle, and inside it glows with a ghostly blue light, and you can see that the white of the light inside this small lantern is a female elven form. She moves to the glass as you hold the lantern, Taliel, and the elf that you know as the Starfallen speaks to you. Oh, thank goodness. I thought that all of the company of the Yellow Banner was slain. I had to sit here and watch in horror as they tore Seward apart and made him into that thing. It is for the best. What you did.
Yeah. I could not see him like that again and again. I saw him partially in another one earlier, and it horrified me that this was his fate.
This is a cruel and unforgiving place. You should never have come here on my account. I would not begrudge you if you left this place at once, without fulfilling your mission to free me. The cost is far too great.
It's too late for that. Seems there are other things going on outside, and for better for worse, I will see this through.
Well, know this. These dwarves, from what I can tell, they would gather any fallen adventurers of any strength, and use them, cutting them up into pieces, reassembling them with that, as she indicates the far side of the room. They call it the Iron Kiln. This is their forge where they make their horrors. But every day, they would go out into the tomb with that one. Is that your work? As she indicates the severed body of Withers.
I think at this point she would, I think it was Brilinya that did the damage. I can't quite remember. But she would indicate that it was their doing to the people.
Well, they would head out once a day with them, reset the traps, and restock wherever necessary. But if you've slain him, perhaps it has crippled them.
I hope so, as
Do
long
you-
as he stays dead.
Do you trust them, Taliel? And she indicates Vale, Brilinya, and Qualu.
She's a little unsure about Vale, seeing as he's a little crazy in her mind, but she definitely she looks to Brilinya. Yes. And then she looks to Qualu and Vale. Yes, I trust them.
Do they have a quest? You were here searching for the Eye of Zeltek. But why are they here?
Something about a soulmonger has stopped the ability to resurrect people, and those that had been resurrected before are now falling ill. That's what brings them here.
I've
It
heard
seems much time has passed since I've come in.
Taliel.
Mhm.
What do you mean?
Well, for me, it seems like just days. But they tell me that this has
Taliel,
been going on for months.
we
What?
entered the tomb over a year ago. Have you
And I
lost
think-
all that time?
Yeah, I think when she hears this, if there's a bench or anything, she's going to sit down on it. If there isn't, she goes right to the floor and sits on it, kind of just like all of the oomph has come out of her. A year. Just gone? How is this possible?
I don't understand. I can't even begin to understand the magic of this place. I thought you were all lost. Wait. The half-orc there. Does he carry Devlin's staff?
He does. We came across Devlin's body
Does he
yesterday.
know of the curse? Which you would have
No.
known about.
Oh, I think I probably would have told him then. Yeah, he does, but he does not seem to care.
And at this point, Qualu, you might have begun to notice that across your arms, across your shoulders, even the backs of your hands, your knuckles, a fine hair is beginning to grow thickly. She looks around at the rest of you. Who, besides Vale, speaks Elven? So, the rest of you would understand this, but she's speaking directly to you, Vale, in Elven. Can she trust you? Can I trust you? Are you good souls? Are you here for selfish reasons? If I cannot trust you, I will not aid you. And she's speaking to you, Vale, in Elven.
I'm here for one purpose and one purpose only: to rid this place of the soulmonger, to bring peace and safety back to the Sword Coast and all of Faerun, and then to retire somewhere in a lake by a mountain and raise bees and make honey and make mead. Live a simple life. We're just in unsimplified circumstances. And if you're concerned about any sort of safety up in, then just know that I'm being inhabited by a god right now. one who's a bit afraid and terrified and just annoying. It's a minor inconvenience. So if you have an issue with trusting me, what does it matter anyway? Because you're dead. But if we can prevent the soulmonger from continuing on, and I can destroy the soulmonger, then maybe we could see about getting you to come back. The mere fact that you're still a ghost isn't quite impressive. So that lantern is really helping you out, I assume.
So much time has passed that when I try to dwell, and now she's speaking in common. When I try to think all the way back to who I was before I was in this lantern, it is but a haze. So long have I been here, but the company of the Yellow Banner, Taliel and her companions, were seeking an artifact called the Eye of Zoltak that could possibly have freed me. But I don't think that I'm as concerned with that as I am with seeing Taliel survive. This is a very dangerous place. But if you have made it this far, and Taliel has found you, I will put my faith in you as well. The Eye of Zoltak should not be foremost on any of your minds. If you find it in the search for your goal, then fine. I have grown accustomed to this state of being, and if this is my fate, then so be it. But we should proceed with caution. All right. Taliel, if you have added the ghost lantern to your inventory, it's a lantern, though I believe you all have dark vision, so you haven't needed it, but it does provide 30 feet of bright light and an additional 30 feet of dim light. You also know that the lantern, that you can send the Starfallen out from the lantern to a range of 30 feet, and she has the same abilities as that of a mage hand. She can manipulate things that weigh 10 pounds or less. And you know that she does have an ability that, where is it? That that is pertinent only to you, the one who is attuned to it. All right. You find nothing else of value in this room. You have the stairway that leads up. Based on the geography of this place, assuming that it follows normal geography, as it has seemed to do so far, with the exception of the time travel circle, you can assume you are somewhere below the area with the room that had the stone thrones on either side of them, or all around the room, which actually I think was Obalaka's tomb, now that I think about it, where you had previously taken a long rest. So these stairs may lead up to that area. You have the spiral staircase just outside this room that leads down to where you don't know. And you have the main stairway with the large balcony, and that you know that on each level there has been some sort of warning from a Sararak. what would you like to do?
Before we leave, sorry, Taliel would like to dig out any arrows from the body that are still exist and the ones that she misses if she possibly could.
So, I will allow you to recover half of your arrows.
Okay, perfect.
The others are damaged from ricocheting around the room, or perhaps you aren't able to fully pull it out without damaging it, but you can recover half of your arrows.
Beautiful, thank you. Also, before we turn to leave, Taliel would turn to the others and say, like, this Withers, the creature that we killed, like, he's still, I guess, he's got body parts. And she would look at, like, Kawalu and maybe in Vale. Maybe we should smash his bones so he can't come back.
So we should burn him and burn everything in this room.
Yes.
Okay. Cut to a slow motion shot of the four of you walking out of the door as the corpse of Withers smolders and burns, and we see the broken iron kiln. Maybe the Beastie Boys Sabotage plays in the background. With everything that's in this room and the magics and other things you possess, it would not be difficult at all for you to demolish this room, demolish the kiln, pull a bunch of hoses and things out, and set fire to the corpse of Withers. All right. Spiral staircase or the big central staircase?
I think we want to go down. So I think we should keep going down.
Do we go down the main way where the plaque will probably be on the next level, or go down this secret way that they take?
Well, the last time we went down anywhere, it was through that devil's mouth. And we landed in a situation. So I suggest maybe we try an alternate route to go down the stairs to the next level. I mean, if there's a secret way to go down, that might help us a bit, but not sure what other options we have. I mean, there's the main staircases that not just go straight down there. Because there was a main staircase, wasn't there, that basically went to each level?
Yeah, that's the main central one that she was referring to with the plaques.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, could get some tips or something to avoid or not avoid for the next level there.
And just keep in mind that this one exists, and she points to the one that's back here in these secret rooms.
Yep.
To know where they are, because there could be. Well, I guess we've made enough noise that if there's somebody down there, they would have come up by now. So, but we don't know where they are, but they could be somewhere around us.
So you're going to head to the main stairway? All right. You proceed through the way you came, and the secret entrance that led to the room with the cistern is, of course, at the top of the stairs leading down to the next level. You descend these stairs, and as you do so, about halfway down, you notice that there seems to be like a dust floating through the air, very lazily and slowly. You see at the bottom of the stairs, along the floor, along the walls, and as you clear where the ceiling is now up above, you even see some on the ceiling, this purple fungus that you recognize from when you descended through the mouth of the green devil into the room with all the hieroglyphics. There was some of this fungus. And as you begin to descend, you see from the bottom of the stairs one section of fungus. An eye pokes out. Up on the ceiling, an eye looks down, looks around at you. A burst of spores come out from the purple and just contribute to this heavy dust that's just floating through the air. It seems harmless as it floats past you. The air doesn't seem any thicker or staler, but you, just like you did in the room with the hieroglyphics, you notice that there is a strong scent of death and rotting flesh coming from this purple fungus. As you descend the steps, you immediately notice to your left, to the west, there is a long hallway 10 feet wide. About 15 feet, 20 feet down the hallway, you see a spiked chain crossing the hall. And there are two alcoves, one on the north, one on the south. And this spiked chain appears to stretch between two tomb guardians standing motionless in these alcoves. You see ahead of you, 20 feet, on the north wall of this balcony, another brass plate with the warnings of a Serac. You see to just slightly off center of the north wall, a narrow 5-foot hallway leading into where you don't know. And then all the way around on the south wall of this balcony is another 5-foot hallway leading where you don't know. And you can see in even more detail the statues down below that still look to be quite a ways, but in the central area of the balconies. The brass plaque with the Serac's third warning is 20 feet away from you. What would you like to do?
That is where Brilinya is making a beeline for, is that plaque.
And Taliel's right there with you.
All right, so that's going to be... Here we go. That is a Serac's third warning. On this brass plaque, you see the words written, "Walk through water with weapon in hand. Slake your shadow at the font. The vulture is the first step. Write the gods. The walls of history tell all."
I think Brilinya would exclaim, "Ha! I knew that this slate would have a clue to that room with the puzzle. The vulture's the first step."
I wonder what the second is. If I remember correctly, my friend seemed to have perished on the second.
All
So
of you
start.
can give me a insight check. Or survival, whichever one's better.
$17.
14.
23.
My dice didn't like that roll at all. So
Vale. You do, in thinking of this, as Brilinya and Taliel are talking about this, in kind of glancing over to your right where this passageway leads to the north, you realize in relation, you sort of look and you kind of thinking about where the balcony is and mentally thinking of where you've been, and you realize that passageway to the north lines up with, if there's a room or anything on the other side of that, that lines up with where you went through the devil's mouth and fell into the tomb with the hieroglyphic floor.
And what was the first clue is which? The vulture.
It's not the first clue, but it's one of the lines says the vulture is the first step.
Okay.
And that passageway is 20 feet to your right. So what do you guys want to do?
Do we want to go there first since we've already seen it, or do we want to go somewhere else?
It kind of makes sense. Just go in there, get it over with. Kind of. Well, memories. Did we even open up because there was a sarcophagus there, wasn't there? Didn't we try to open it?
You didn't do anything in that room.
Oh yeah, that's right, because we panicked. That's right.
You guys stayed frozen and decided to use the rope of climbing that Taliel has and get the heck out of there.
Yeah, we bounced.
Because there were also there was a lot going on in that room.
Yeah. All right, why not? Go in there and have a look. Maybe I can get another god in my head, and this time it's going to be one that's not, not a coward.
Actually, because that was the one with the Almirage, right?
Yes.
So related. Actually, I was hoping if I could open it.
Oh, yeah, completely, definitely. Just don't let don't get the Almirage in your head. Don't get any of them in your head.
I'm just curious. I've been seeing an Almirage lately, and it always has brought good luck. I wonder if that's some sort of sign. Or
maybe
a trap. A very long trap.
All right, so are you heading to that passageway then? Like many of the others, this one is a 5-foot wide hallway. It is 20 feet long. Brilinya, I believe you are going first.
I could totally go first if Brilinya would like.
Maybe Taliel will go first.
Oh, okay. I thought you were very eager to head towards this tomb, but no, that's fine. That's fine. So Taliel's going first. What you see at the end of this hall is a carving of a huge carving of a snarling jackal's head protruding out from the wall at the end of this corridor. Through the gaps of its fangs, you can just make out an illuminated chamber on the other side. Who is looking through the gaps in the teeth? Only 2 people will be able to get up close to look through.
Taliel for sure would be.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll have a look.
Vale, you slip up next to Taliel, peering through these gaps that are only a couple inches. And you see a familiar-looking room. 4 torches illuminate stone sphinxes crouched in the corners of this 15-foot-high room. The torches cast flickering light across hieroglyphs carved into the tiled floor. The center of the room, a gold-inlaid funeral barge, stands atop a 3-foot-tall stone dais. Resting on the deck of the barge is a small golden sarcophagus decorated with horned rabbits, the Almirage. A dark shaft opens in the ceiling directly above the barge. After a moment, as you're peering through, though, you notice that you do not see the body of the gold dwarf. But what you do see, Taliel and Vale, is on the eastern side of the room, a slab of stone grinds upward towards the ceiling. And you see Bravest Boulderborn, the shield dwarf, with a shield in front of him, his yellow turban on his head, and chainmail as he creeps into the tomb, holding his shield out in front of him as he steps forward. He takes a step, and you hear a loud click as he steps onto one of the floor tiles. Taliel and Vale, you hear a loud buzzing noise begin to fill the chamber. As hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of locusts spill forth from the mouths of the sphinxes around the room and engulf Bravest Boulderborn. He brandishes his shield and begins waving his weapons around, trying to fend them off, but to no avail. After a moment, the cloud of insects begins to dissipate, and the buzzing subsides, and nothing remains of Bravest Boulderborn except his skeleton, his armor, his shield, and his yellow turban. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. As once again you appear to have seen into the past. And unfortunately for Taliel, she keeps seeing her companions die.
They're all dying around me, and I have to witness it. I don't like it.
Jeez, wait till we all start dying around you. You're going to be the last one in the tomb.
Might have to change your name from actually Strahd to actually a Sararak. We'll start a new conspiracy for Kaeryn. Oh. All right. Yeah, we did end a little bit early tonight, but I wanted to kind of let that moment land. And we can come in with you guys analyzing from that as you've just entered into the third level of the Tomb of the Nine Gods. You've learned a few things. Taliel picked up this interesting lantern, and it's up to you. I didn't share that last piece that it does. It's up to you if you want to share what the final ability of the ghost lantern is.
Yeah, sure. I believe I just closed my thingy. Just a sec. 1 second, please. If I fall unconscious within 10 feet of the lantern, the spirit will come out of it and stabilize me with a touch. So it's pretty cool.
It's almost like having a fairy in a jar in Zelda, except it doesn't heal all your hit points. But it does stabilize you if you fall unconscious.
Which could be very, very handy.
Yeah. So you do know, I'll remind you when we start the next session, but you've gone into the one hallway where you've seen into the past through the Jackal's mouth. And you know, looking into this room and from your previous view in the room, that there is some sort of stone, secret stone entrance on the east side of that chamber. Your only other points of egress, I forgot to mention that while there is the stairway, the hallway that opens to the south to wherever you don't know, right next to that is the next set of stairs leading down to the next level from this balcony. And then you do have at the bottom of the stairs that you descended, there is that 10-foot wide hallway that extends for quite a ways, through which you saw there were 15 feet, 20 feet in. There's 2 shield guardians joined by a chain that stretches across the hall, a spike chain. So I'm sure that won't be any kind of problem whatsoever. All right, that was session 4, the Vault of Reflection. Oh yeah, it is worth noting there it's this weird purple fungus that smells of dead bodies and has eyeballs and periodic spore bursts popping out. So it's the dungeon that just keeps on giving. All right, well, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Of course, thank you to Kaeryn with that meta resubscription for 8 months. We also got rated by Fellowship of the Tables, who also resubscribed for a 4-month returning subscription. So thank you for that as well. I believe things are going to get a little touch and go for the next few weeks as we start moving towards the holidays. I'm going to tentatively say that we will not have a game next week. Only because I may only just be getting home. I'm not sure when I'm coming back or when I'm getting home, but I am actually traveling to the home dungeon and lair of one DM Scotty. I will be spending the weekend with DM Scotty. Also Gareth, the DMG info, is going to be there. And Ted and Dave from Nerdarchy as well. We're having a little get together at Scotty's place. So I will be down there for that. So I'm sure if you follow me on Twitter at MTDJake, where is it? Right here. I'm sure there'll be plenty of pictures and stuff about that. But that is a almost 5-hour drive to and from there. So I may just be getting home and after 5 hours on the road, not ready to play D&D, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know what the schedule is for next weekend, so just we'll say tentative for next week. But at any rate, as I said, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight to join us on this. And if you're wondering, I'm going to be working hard over the next couple weeks to get caught up on all the VODs. I know we're quite a ways behind on these ones, but I figured out a system that I can take my laptop to work and I can use the high-speed internet there and have it on the side and just get it loading. It only takes like 20 to 30 minutes to upload a VOD, whereas from home it takes like 2 hours to get them uploaded and processed on YouTube. So all of the games will be caught up with VODs over the next couple weeks. Which means if you want to see those and if you miss sessions, you can head over to youtube.com/mini-terrain-domain. And while you're there, why not subscribe? Join the over 10,000 people who have subscribed to Mini Terrain Domain to see all of our VODs and forthcoming. There is actually some legacy crafting videos on there. There's some reviews and more content coming soon. Also, while you're knocking around the internet, check out all of these amazing players and the stuff that they do on their various channels, various games that are in the works. And you can see all of us in different capacities on different streams. We've got Mike DMing the All That Glitters Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign right here on Mini Terrain Domain on Twitch on Monday nights with Megan and I as players. This Tuesday, I believe, is a Curse of Strahd Tuesday, where you can find myself, Kaeryn, Megan, and Connor, with Megan DMing that game. That is, what is that, like session 13, I believe, of that one. When is the next Spire game? Is
This week.
it is this week?
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was the case, but yes. So on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, Connor is game mastering Spire. The City Must Fall. It is a non-Dungeons & Dragons game, but it is a role-playing game nonetheless. Megan is a player in that, along with friends of ours, Lloyd, the Jarl DM, Jeff Doty from Encounter Balance, and Philip is also a player in that. And that's an incredible campaign you want to check out right here on the channel. Thursday is, of course, our Dawnbringers campaign, our regular Dawnbringers campaign. I believe we're playing this Thursday. And it may be in fact, it will be the last time that all of the players are together. We'll have a couple more sessions, but as we lean into the holidays. And then, so there's all that great stuff happening. Of course, you can tune in on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern for Alan's presentation of his weekly Curse of Strahd game that he runs with Tamiko, Chad, Lionel, and Sam. And I forget how many sessions they're in. I think they're like 10 or 12 sessions in on their game as well. Lots of great stuff going on here. Check it out. Check out everybody else's channels. And before we head out of here, a huge thank you to Mike, Kaeryn, Megan, and Connor, without whom it would just be me narrating fictional characters moving through this tomb. So thank you for making me slightly less crazy, but contributing to my absurdity on a weekly basis. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're going to end the stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.